The desert night was cold, yet sweat ran down Captain Daniel Harris's back. He was a decorated U.S. Army officer, hardened by years of discipline, sacrifice, and relentless training. Yet tonight was different. Across the barren valley stood the Royal Guard, elite warriors trained since childhood to protect their nation's honor. Their leader, Commander Tariq al-Rashid, stared at Daniel with the same fire he saw in his own soldiers. Two forces, both powerful, both disciplined, both ready to fight. But neither man knew that destiny would turn them from enemies into something greater, brothers. The mission was clear: secure the valley, protect the civilians trapped in crossfire, and avoid unnecessary bloodshed. But orders are never simple in war. Miscommunication turned tension into confrontation. The first shot rang out. Dust exploded. Soldiers on both sides scrambled, shouting, returning fire. The desert echoed with thunder. Captain Harris moved like instinct. Years of training, sleepless nights, and disciplined routines had prepared him for chaos. He shouted orders, his voice steady while his heart raced. He thought of his father's words. In battle, son, you don't fight because you hate the enemy, you fight because you love the people behind you. On the other side, Commander Tariq stood tall, sword strapped across his back even in the age of rifles. He was not just a soldier, he was a symbol. For him, loyalty meant everything: loyalty to country, to people, and to honor. As the dust storm thickened, both armies realized the real enemy wasn't each other. It was confusion. It was fear. It was the possibility of losing men to a misunderstanding neither side truly wanted. And then, destiny intervened. Daniel spotted a child trapped between crossfire, terrified, crying, clutching a broken doll. Without hesitation, he sprinted out of cover. Bullets whizzed past. His men screamed, "Captain, get down!" But loyalty to the innocent outweighed fear. Across the field, Tariq saw the same child. Without thinking, he too broke cover. His soldiers gasped as their commander risked his life. Two men. Two enemies. Running toward the same purpose. They reached the child at the same time, colliding, weapons drawn, until they saw each other's eyes. For a split second, the war disappeared. There was only humanity. Loyalty. Fatherhood. Brotherhood. Together, they shielded the child, carried her to safety, and signaled their men to stop firing. Silence fell. Guns lowered. Soldiers looked at each other, confused, exhausted, questioning why they fought in the first place. That night, under the stars, Daniel and Tariq sat across from each other. Once enemies, now allies bound by sacrifice. The two leaders spoke late into the night. Daniel told stories of his childhood in Texas, how discipline, early mornings, hard study, strict routines, turned him from a reckless boy into an army officer. Tariq shared how he had been trained from age 7 in the palace grounds, rising before dawn to practice sword drills and study philosophy. Different cultures. Different uniforms. Yet the same values: discipline, resilience, honor, sacrifice. They realized something profound. True warriors are not measured by the enemies they defeat, but by the lives they protect, the values they uphold, and the loyalty they carry, even when no one is watching. That night, Daniel and Tariq shook hands, not as opponents, but as brothers in arms. Months later, a new threat emerged. Extremists armed with heavy weapons attacked a nearby village. Fires blazed, families screamed, chaos spread. This time, U.S. soldiers and the Royal Guard stood together, side by side. Daniel and Tariq led from the front, proving that leadership is not about commanding from behind, but walking into danger first. Bullets tore through the air. Dust stung their eyes. Yet neither man faltered. When Tariq was struck in the shoulder, Daniel dragged him behind cover, shouting, "You're not falling today, brother." And when Daniel nearly collapsed from exhaustion, Tariq lifted him, reminding him, "True courage isn't fighting alone, it's standing when your brother can't." The battle raged for hours. But by dawn, the extremists were driven out, and the village was safe. Civilians wept with gratitude, not for one army or the other, but for the unity of two forces who chose courage over pride, humanity over division. When the dust settled, Daniel and Tariq knew their story wasn't just about war. It was about life. About leadership. About choices. Loyalty means standing for others, even when it costs you everything. Sacrifice means putting the greater good above your comfort. Discipline means doing what's right, not once, but every single day, until it becomes who you are. Resilience means getting up every time life knocks you down. Courage means running into the fire, not away from it. Self-growth means realizing that your greatest enemy isn't someone else, it's your own fear, laziness, and doubt. Both men understood, whether you wear an army uniform or a royal guard's robe, the real battle is within. The real victory is over the self. Years later, Daniel returned home to the US. He left the army, but not the discipline it gave him. He built a life of service, teaching young men about leadership, mindset, and sacrifice. Tariq, too, continued serving his people, but with a renewed vision, that strength is not just about force, but about unity. Every year, they wrote letters, reminding each other. A true friend isn't the one who stands beside you when life is easy, but the one who refuses to leave when life is hard. Their story reminds us all, in life, you will face battles. Some will be against circumstances, others against people, and most, against yourself. But if you live with loyalty, sacrifice, discipline, resilience, and courage, you will not only survive, you will grow. Remember, success isn't about the medals you wear or the titles you earn. It's about the lives you impact, the habits you master, and the legacy you leave behind. So, if you're struggling right now, if life feels like a battlefield, don't give up. Stand tall. Stay disciplined. Be courageous. And know this. Every hardship is shaping you into the leader you're meant to become. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that discipline, loyalty, and courage can change not just a battle but an entire life, then I invite you. Backhand index pointing right, like this video to spread the message. Backhand index pointing right, comment below with your biggest takeaway. What value will you carry into your life today? Backhand index pointing right, and subscribe for more stories that fuel your growth, sharpen your mindset, and light your path toward leadership and success. Because remember, wars end, medals fade, but the lessons of discipline and courage will carry you forward forever.